The social media debate of the hour: was Brandon Aiyuk trolling with these posts, or was he serious in his attacks of Jayden Daniels?
You on my team now. You follow my rules.
My answer: it doesn't matter. If Brandon Aiyuk wasn't trolling, well, you can add an even darker chapter to what seems to be a tailspin from Brandon Aiyuk. He would have burned one of his final strong bridges back to the NFL. If Aiyuk was trolling, he didn't impress anybody, especially any potential employers in the NFL. Aiyuk is currently a receiver with a reputation to mend, especially if he does actually want to return and play football. So any funny business online would not help him toward that goal. So either way, trolling or not trolling, this is yet another example of self-destructive behavior from Brandon Aiyuk in a long line of it. I'm not going to speculate and pretend that I know what's going on with Brandon Aiyuk. All I can see is what he posts, and he was relatively radio silent for several months after the 49ers put him on the left squad list. He started becoming vocal on social media about a month ago, following the turn of the calendar from May to June. But what I can say is that it's clear that Aiyuk needs at least some form of guidance, some form of help. Because so far, we've only seen Brandon Aiyuk cut off the entities who would be able to help him.
So it's unfortunate that he's sort of turning away the people that could have helped him.
His former agent, Ryan Williams, that relationship was officially dissolved just a few days ago, but apparently Aiyuk and Williams had not been in any touch for a long time. So Aiyuk obviously wasn't taking Ryan Williams' advice, and I would think that the guy who negotiated a very favorable contract for you, Williams was Aiyuk's agent when he signed the deal worth up to $120 million with the 49ers, $30 million per year, $75 million or so in total guaranteed money. I think that Brandon Aiyuk would have benefited to continue listening to Ryan Williams. But not only did he cut him off, he also cut off the NFLPA. Now he seems to be asking for some help from the players' union, but not until after he attacked the union, which obviously is in place to have his best interests at heart. We even have a story from Brandon Aiyuk himself, and I know that we have to take all of those with a grain of salt, but a story that alleges that John Lynch actually came to his house. I'm assuming this was several months ago, back when Aiyuk was in the Bay Area. Aiyuk does not speak fondly of Lynch's visit to his house, but given all that we know, it certainly seems that the 49ers general manager was checking in on his player, probably not only as a player, but also as a person. I actually think that it does not portray John Lynch in a bad light whatsoever. And it could just be another example of Brandon Aiyuk turning away help that could take him out of this mess. He needs real guidance. And even if he never plans to play football again, burning bridges on his way out can be very, very damaging over the long run. If Aiyuk actually does hope to play football again, something that I think has come into serious, serious doubt given his behavior over the course of the past several months, well, he is not going about it the right way. The only potential way forward for Brandon Aiyuk, if he does actually hope to play football again, is to apply for reinstatement through writing with the National Football League. And again, he has done everything but that at this point. Everything but apply for reinstatement. That has to come next if you're Brandon Aiyuk. Instead of that, instead of a concrete action, we have seen a number of contradictions from Brandon Aiyuk over the course of these posts. This is just to highlight how irrational all of this has been. A few days ago, he said that the 49ers haven't paid him in 17 months. But about a week or two before that, Aiyuk in a separate video said that they actually have paid him $50 million since the 2024 contract. I'm assuming that he meant 48.1 million because that is exactly the amount that the 49ers owed Brandon Aiyuk on the 2024 contract. So maybe they paid him early, but the bottom line is they paid him everything that he is owed, even though Aiyuk implied that the 49ers have not paid him everything that he is owed. Another contradiction, Brandon Aiyuk has alleged the NFLPA dropped the ball in his case, but it was Aiyuk himself who declined to challenge the voiding of guarantees when he missed rehab appointments and missed a rehab report date in the summer of 2025. About exactly a year ago, July 2025, Brandon Aiyuk, according to Richard Sherman, did not show up 4 days early to 49ers training camp as he was mandated by his contract to do. And that might have just been one of the things that the 49ers used to void his guarantees. At the time, if this was indeed just a trivial matter of not being at the facility on time or misunderstanding, Aiyuk could have fought the voiding of guarantees with his agent Ryan Williams with the help of the NFLPA. He declined that opportunity. So it's really hard to believe his allegation that the NFLPA dropped the ball if it was Aiyuk himself who refused to challenge the ruling. Aiyuk also a few days ago hinted that the 49ers canceled minicamp because they were either scared of the media, which makes no sense, or him showing up. But if Aiyuk tried his key card at the 49ers building right now, it wouldn't even work. He has to file for reinstatement first, and he has to do that in writing. So Aiyuk could not have even showed up to 49ers minicamp. So the allegation that the 49ers are somehow running from him doesn't make sense given the fact that he can't even get into the building. Also, that allegation doesn't make much sense at all given the fact that he says that he was afraid of John Lynch when John Lynch actually came to his house. You can't say that the 49ers are running from you and then give us a story of John Lynch actually going to your house to check on you. So combine all of that with the 4th of July videos referring to Jayden Daniels, where Aiyuk was supposedly upset that Daniels disrespected him by laughing too much when a fan approached him, I believe, at the World Cup with a camera and started yelling derogatory things about Brandon Aiyuk. Supposedly, Jayden Daniels was supposed to fight the random guy instead. I don't know what Aiyuk wanted, but if this wasn't a beef, he was upset about that. So just combine what we saw on the 4th of July with everything that I just listed and more. I mean, those were just the contradictions. He also straight up attacked the 49ers, mocked them for paying him $50 million. We can go on and on. It is not a clean track record. It is not something that is sending Brandon Aiyuk in the right direction. It definitely is something that screams, that absolutely screams that he needs some real quality guidance, which it appears that he has rejected. No matter which way you spin those videos about Jayden Daniels, they do not look good for Brandon Aiyuk. And without knowing any more, without resorting to speculation, we can all say from a human perspective, from a human point of view, we can hope that Brandon Aiyuk gets some help and some guidance so that we can stop watching this spiral online. Once the 4th of July comes and passes, we start to truly prepare in earnest for training camp. The 49ers will be out there on July 25th with a report date. First practice is going to be on July 26th. So we're going to be spending quite a bit of time here over the next couple of weeks discussing how the rookies might fit into the 49ers' larger plans. By the way, if you are in the city today, speaking of the 49ers, the 49er is the best sandwich in the world at Deli Board. I had no idea that this was going to happen, but I saw that Adam, who owns Deli Board, is the craftsman of these awesome sandwiches. He has said that today, if you head in and order a 49er Lombardi Style, that means that you have added avocado to the sandwich and you'll get the avocado today for free. I believe they're only open till about 2 or 3 p.m. though. So head on over to Deli Board. That's only today for the best sandwich in the world. The 49er. You could see just how good it is. 49ers can hope that their 2026 rookie class is a fraction as good as the 49er sandwich. And as we do delve into this over the course of the next couple of weeks, all of the green here on the 49ers 90-man roster, those are the rookies. How are they going to fit? I think Kaelon Black is going to have a significant role right there behind Christian McCaffrey. I think he'll be running back 2 for San Francisco. Just my prediction. Dejan Stribling, obviously a big one. You know, Stribling, there's a dual track setup here. I think that he's your big slot to replace Jauan Jennings in the immediate run, but in the long run, I think that he's got the speed at 4.36 and the size to play the X. I don't know how long Mike Evans is going to be the 49ers X receiver. He signed for 3 years, but Stribling could ultimately succeed Evans, who obviously has succeeded Brandon Aiyuk as the 49ers X wide receiver. Carver Willis, I don't think he's going to win that left guard job this year. I think the 2 most likely candidates there are Robert Jones and Connor Colby, but I do think that this is a big year developmentally for Carver Willis, maybe even slide in behind the starting center, Jake Brendel, who's on the final year of his contract. And if you can develop behind him and be ready to start next year, that'd be a big win for the 49ers. I've talked so much about the hidden gem, Enrique Cruz Jr. Maybe he's used as that 6th offensive lineman as a tight end this year. That's the only way that I see Cruz getting some real playing time here over the next couple of years, barring injuries, because both Trent Williams and Colton McKivitz are entrenched at the tackle positions. Grayson Halton, the defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. 49ers have revamped the entire DT room. Osa Digizua is obviously the headliner there. If Halton can show what he did on tape as far as effort, pass rushing wise, I think he get in there as a rotational piece immediately. He's got some serious motor to him. And then Romello Height is somebody the 49ers are going to be relying on this year. They might still add another edge rusher. They might be looking at a veteran. We could talk about Maxx Crosby later. We can talk about Joey Bosa down the road. I think he might pull an Eric Kendricks this year. But Height is a player, especially with Raheem Morris, really being amorphous with his defense. He might play some outside linebacker. He might play, obviously, edge rusher. We might see Romello Height doing a whole bunch of things. And speaking of that, Jayden Duggar, too. If Height's going to play for sure, Duggar, I don't know about. Duggar might be somebody that's just a red shirt for developmental purposes. But since he has played edge rusher, since he has played safety, since we do expect the 49ers to be very, very creative with Raheem Morris, maybe they do find a way to get him on the field in a very adaptable fashion this year. Then there's Ephesians Prysock. Depth at corner, but promising depth with how long he is. I mean, we could talk about how long Prysock is. Jayden Duggar's got a 7-foot wingspan. So the 49ers really, really like guys with the ability to close off passing lanes, to make things muddy for opposing offenses in that back 7. We'll talk about other guys like the undrafted free agents, couple defensive tackles, Bryson Eason, James Thompson Jr. The edge, Mikhail Kamara out of Indiana. He's going to have a shot in training camp. Larry Worth, who's playing with the linebackers now, the former Arkansas safety. Speaking of long players, that's another long player. Jalen Stroman, a box safety out of Notre Dame. Khalil Dinkins, the tight end out of Penn State. That's a position of potential softness for the 49ers, given the fact that George Kittle was at the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift wedding. So was Kyle Juszczyk, but George Kittle, we'll see if he's available week 1. If not, does that give Dinkins a better shot to make this roster? And of course, Wesley Grimes, NC State, and Will Pauling, Notre Dame, a couple of receivers. Pauling, interesting. He could be a punt return candidate for the 49ers, and so obviously is Jacob Cowan. But all that and more coming big time for you guys here over the next few days. Enjoy tonight, Mexico playing England at the 49ers home stadium in Mexico, Estadio Azteca. That's the greatest home field advantage in international soccer. It's set to host the loudest 49ers home game of all time in November when San Francisco plays the Vikings. And obviously, Team USA got some good red card news today. Their guy is back. So we got a good way to pass from now until the 49ers report to training camp with this World Cup. Everybody enjoy.